Hi guys, today I'll be taking a look at a silent tactile switch, the Akko Penguin Silent. Let's get started. But firstly, as a disclaimer, these switches were sent to me by Akko. I wasn't paid to make this review and I will remain as impartial as I can as per usual. Anyway, enjoy the review. Now, this is Akko's very first silent tactile switch, joining the ranks of highly regarded switches such as the Boba U4 and the Durock T1 Silent. Now, pricing wise, these are $13.99 for 45 switches on Akko, placing these in the budget range. And this is what they look like when disassembled. Feel free to pause the video. Now, let's move on to the switch categories. On-center key presses are very smooth with only very minor scratchiness at very slow key presses. Off-center key presses are noticeably scratchier at slow and sometimes at moderate key presses but are otherwise above average. Overall, after a longer than usual break-in period, these switches have become pretty smooth when compared to the market, 7 out of 10. Now, according to Akko, these switches have a peak tactile force of 58 grams at 0.4mm, an actuation force of 43 grams at 2mm, and a bottom-out force of 60 grams at 3.3mm. Now, in terms of the actual key feel, they feel quite similar to the in-ear Holy Panda, given they both roughly bottom out at the same force and have a medium-ish tactile bump with no pre-travel. However, they're a bit disappointing consistency-wise as they haven't been as consistent as other Akko switches, but they are still above average compared to the competition. Overall, despite the seemingly light actuation point, I wouldn't say that these are light switches by any means. They pretty much are medium weighted, which I enjoyed, 7 out of 10. Now, sound is a touch louder when compared to the linear counterpart, the Fairy Silent, but these are also extremely quiet. So how does that stack up compared to the other silent tactile switches? Well, take a listen for yourself. So as you've heard, they're pretty comparable to the Boba U4, which is highly regarded in the community, but remember, these are much cheaper. Now, despite this, I'm still not a huge fan of silent switches and these don't change my opinion, but I'm 100% confident that these will be in hundreds of keyboard builds given their price and lack of competition really. Overall, these are boring to me, but I have to give Akko credit here given these are just as impressive as their linear counterpart, which is not easy especially at this low of a price point, 7 out of 10. Now, take a listen and enjoy. Now, there were some issues regarding typing, especially early on. Let me start with those. Firstly, these took a longer time to break in, which in itself isn't a huge problem, but they were scratchy for about a week, and this wasn't the case with the linear counterpart, so that's very strange. Secondly, during the break-in process, some switches were sticking during slow key presses, which is something I haven't felt since the Gatron Silent Black ink. But these disappeared after a few days and is no longer an issue. Finally, my experience with these switches on my first week and my second week were quite different due to the longer than usual break-in process. They felt like Gatron Reds at first, but they're now smoothed out, and my score is based on what they feel at this moment, in case you're wondering. Now, apart from its early setbacks, these have been consistent across the board with no major issues, although your mileage may vary given these are Akko's first attempt. Overall, being an early adopter has its drawbacks, but these have been fabulous to type on and I'm glad to see more of these on the market. 7 out of 10. Now, tactile switches have always been my preferred type when gaming, and these switches delivered the performance I expected. These were pretty good in both fast and slow-paced games, plus their quiet sound signature meant I wasn't distracted by any keystroke noises, which is a huge bonus in stealth games. Additionally, since the weighting is similar to the Invia Holy Panda, which I really liked in gaming, these were no different. I'd say these are just as good. However, in contrast to that, these have a mushy bottom out and have a shorter total travel, which didn't affect me in gaming, but it's worth pointing out for those thinking about buying these. Overall, whilst these are excellent switches, and especially so if you're looking at the value proposition, I'm still gonna choose either the Boba U4 or the Silent T1 given their sharper tactility, but these are definitely worth considering as well. 7 out of 10. In conclusion, these are essentially silent holy pandas with a significantly more affordable price tag. Again, I expect these to sell out very quickly. The final score for this switch is 35 out of 50 or 70%, which is really good. That's top tier stuff, guys. And that's the end of the review, and next time I don't know what I'm gonna be testing. It's either a speed switch or a tactile switch. Anyway, until then, take care and goodbye.